If we accepting someone from outside at the cost of our basis, cultural basis, this is disaster. It's a simple way to make war, domestic war, and this is stupid. And of course, politicians are sometimes very stupid, or even being aware of this, that this is stupid. They are using this tool because they want to be liberal.
David Cameron, Nadim's party leader, the man who would be properly Prime Minister, perhaps, in 2015, said in his speech last year, on 25th of March, he said, contra, Nadim, to your argument, quote, under the previous government, immigration was far too high and the system was badly out of control. Net migration needs to come down radically. That's the words of the Prime Minister. This is not an outrider argument. It's what all the main political parties now say. They say it because it's what the public think. 77% of the people in the British Social Attitudes poll last year said they wanted immigration to come down. Almost 60% said they wanted it to come down by a lot. That's the British people's opinion.
Wilders has called for a 0% asylum policy, meaning no new asylum seekers would be allowed into the Netherlands. He also wants the country to leave the EU's asylum agreement entirely, following in the footsteps of Denmark, which negotiated an opt-out from the EU's common asylum policy in 2022. What's the motivation behind these measures? The housing crisis is a major factor. Many Dutch citizens are frustrated by the fact that asylum seekers and migrants are often given priority when it comes to social housing. Wilders and his party have tapped into this frustration, pushing a message that positions immigration as a threat to Dutch society and culture.
Nou, voorzitter, omdat ik de feiten noem en de feiten zie. En feit is dat meer dan de helft van de verdachten in Nederland van alle misdrijven een migratieachtergrond heeft. Feit is dat van alle gedetineerden twee derde een migratieachtergrond heeft. Feit is dat 66% van de gevallen van zakkenrollerij door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 60% van de straatroven door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 40% van de drugsmisdrijven door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 39% van alle geweldsmisdrijven in Nederland door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. En feit is dat opnieuw 39% van alle vuurwapenmisdrijven door niet-westerse allochtonen plaatsvindt. En tenslotte, voorzitter, 46,5%, bijna de helft van onze gevangenissen zitten vol met mensen met niet-westerse allochtonen.
Over the past few days, Berlin has witnessed massive protests, primarily involving pro-Palestinian supporters clashing with law enforcement. The situation escalated to the point where demonstrators targeted police officers and vehicles with fireworks and other dangerous projectiles. This aggressive behavior has raised alarms among authorities and citizens alike. In response to these incidents, the German government has announced a series of measures aimed at curbing the violence and addressing the root causes. This includes mass deportations targeting illegal migrants and foreign criminals. Germany is not alone in this approach. Other European nations such as France, Denmark and Sweden are also implementing stricter immigration policies.
Almost a decade on, the open door is shutting. Germany has announced that it's implementing new border checks to stop migrants coming in.
In 2015, at the zenith of the migrant crisis, Hungary saw over 390,000 asylum seekers flood across its borders. Makeshift camps sprang up and resources were pushed to the brink. Orbán responded with a radical approach. He built a heavily fortified fence along Hungary's southern border, equipped with motion sensors and cameras. But it wasn't just about physical barriers. Hungary also passed laws that criminalized illegal border crossings, allowing authorities to detain and deport migrants without the right to appeal. By 2023, Hungary had reduced illegal border crossings by 99%. Italy and Poland, for example, are already showing signs of aligning with Hungary's stance on immigration.
You can probably see from the pictures here, tens of thousands of people have come out on the street to protest what they call essentially an invasion. Now they're talking about migration. Migrants, most of them illegal migrants, are coming to Italy every year, and every year that number grows.
Immigration last year rose by 17% in the EU bloc. Mainly from Central and Northern Africa and also Syrians and Afghans. There's been now, this has been the case for 10 years since Merkel's decision in August 2015 to throw open the EU's borders. And since then, the EU have systematically failed to control their borders.
November 2021, thousands of people from the Middle East attempted to enter Poland via Belarus.
Can you describe the situation on the Polish border last year?
W 2022 roku mieliśmy 15 700 prób nielegalnego przekraczania granicy z Białorusi do Polski. To jest też czas, kiedy powstała bariera i fizyczna, i elektroniczna na granicy polsko-białoruskiej. W tej chwili mamy tych prób już ponad 22 000, ale to też dzięki temu, że identyfikujemy wszystkie zdarzenia na granicy polsko-białoruskiej. Również te zdarzenia, kiedy osoby podchodzą pod barierę, ale wycofują się na terytorium Białorusi, oraz te osoby, które zostały zatrzymane już na terytorium Polski.
We cannot ignore the very real security threats posed by unchecked migration from unstable regions of the world, said the leader of the ruling Law and Justice Party. Poland has the right and the duty to protect its citizens, and that is what this policy is designed to do. The Polish government has stressed that the border closure is not a permanent measure, but rather a temporary response to the perceived security risks. They have also stated that the policy will be regularly reviewed and adjusted as necessary.
10 measures to end beep invasion and stop false refugees coming to Spain. First, demand that they apologize and leave. Second, no more lies. Illegal, mass, and indiscriminate immigration is neither good nor inevitable. It is a crime and a danger to the survival of Europe. Third, message to the world. Let's send a clear message. Europe will no longer be a paradise for false refugees. No foreigner who enters illegally will ever receive social aid, residency permits, asylum, or protection. Your protection is our law. If you don't follow it, you won't be protected. Fourth, combat human trafficking. Use all available means to fight human trafficking mafias and put an end to slavery. Let's fight with everything we have, enter their homes, raid their boats, arrest them, and imprison them. Also, hold accountable those NGOs that collaborate by sending large ships funded with public money to bring them to our ports. Fifth, mass deportation plan. Launch the biggest deportation plan in history. Suspend aid to countries failing to control immigration. Suspend all aid to third countries that don't manage their immigration properly. Sixth, no nationality for illegal entrants. Never grant nationality to anyone who has entered Europe illegally. Close extremist mosques. Immediately close Salafist and Wahhabi mosques that promote anti-Western views. Seventh, reform the asylum system. Change the asylum regime. Eighth, media accountability. Demand that all media outlets report the origin and identity of aggressors under the penalty of losing public subsidies.
Finnish lawmakers narrowly approved a controversial bill which allows border guards to turn away third country migrants attempting to enter from Russia. The aim of the bill is to introduce temporary measures which curb migrants from entering the Nordic nation.
Delir Street. Taking Delir Street.
Absolute traitors!
Let a generation of our daughters be kidnapped and raped, and they did not care. We are seen by them as cattle, yeah? And they do not fear us. And when we fear them, that's tyranny. When they fear us, that's democracy. Yeah? And we need to, I said, we've sat back, we need to get organised, we need to unite this nation. All we're hearing about is the Muslim vote, the Muslim vote. Well, the Muslims make up 7% of the UK, yeah? We are a majority. We have had enough of mass immigration. No one's asked us, did we want 1 million people imported last year? No one asked us if we want to continually go into war. No one asked us. That's not democracy. No one's asking us the key decisions, yeah? These decisions that are affecting us all.
Portugal aos portugueses faz todo o sentido, como faz França aos franceses ou Dinamarca aos dinamarqueses. Nós defendemos a Europa das pátrias carnais, onde todos os povos vivam fraternalmente, como tem que ser, e com o inimigo comum, que são os imigrantes não europeus.
There is no question that the Democrats and the left are looking to do this false idea of multiculturalism. This is what makes America a melting pot. People have to stop saying this, okay? The reality is your country cannot survive without borders. If you don't have borders, you aren't a country, okay? And you also can't survive without some level of social cohesion. What are our shared values within a nation? That's the question you have to ask yourself. When you start bringing people in from all over the world and there is no system of checks and balances and people have different ideas, it is going to lead to a social disaster. And in my viewpoint, that's exactly what the globalists want. It is a way to almost re-enslave humanity. You know, when we look back in the textbooks of how they were able to implement slavery in our country, one of the elements was to make sure that the slaves were constantly warring with one another, right? Yeah. And the way that you do that is to make sure that people don't have shared values. And so people have to step outside of this media guilt that's being assigned to them. You're a racist, you're backwards if you don't believe in opening your door and letting everybody in, and really take a stance, a true stand for your country and your nation and your nation's identity. You are allowed to have one.
Well, your country and our country have the same problem. Our borders are ridiculously porous. And one of the problems, one of the serious issues here in Britain, and I think it is the case in America as well, is that too many of the migrants that we let in, I mean, we embrace them. You come on over, have free money, have a free hotel, have free lawyers, have free accommodation. We give them everything. And too many of them start committing crimes.
En feit is dat meer dan de helft van de verdachten in Nederland van alle misdrijven een migratieachtergrond heeft. Feit is dat van alle gedetineerden twee derde een migratieachtergrond heeft. Feit is dat 66% van de gevallen van zakkenrollerij door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 60% van de straatroven door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 40% van de drugsmisdrijven door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. Feit is dat 39% van alle geweldsmisdrijven in Nederland door niet-westerse allochtonen gebeurt. En feit is dat opnieuw 39% van alle vuurwapenmisdrijven door niet-westerse allochtonen plaatsvindt. En tenslotte, voorzitter, 46,5%, bijna de helft van onze gevangenissen zitten vol met mensen met niet-westerse allochtonen.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you see the future was? You can see today rape. You can see today criminality, enormous criminality. And you can see a country where the police tells politicians, democratic parties, campaigning, where the police say, no, you cannot have a meeting here because we cannot guarantee your safety. And that's today. What will it be tomorrow?